Hello and welcome to the Magic of Boots 58th episode. This is Ronnie. I have Shudipta with me. Shudipta, we have seen some crazy World Cup games. Arguably one of the finest World Cup group stage competition so far. Um, how's your feeling about it?
Well, um, yesterday it was really crazy. Like, who at one point Costa Rica and Japan was going.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
uh,
absolutely. Uh,
any team could actually go from that group anytime. And at the end of the day, like after 80 minutes, Costa Ricans look like really, really tired.
we'll talk
They
about specifics, but
Yeah, but
uh,
I was going to give you sort of like a our viewers sort of like a flavor of what we are getting into.
yeah.
Actually, I was talking with you before. I was going to do a feature like how to beat France and Brazil, as they are the best like so far the best team in the World Cup. But actually, both of the team were beaten in the final round of the group match.
Yeah, from
Um,
Tunisia and
and
Cameroon.
yeah, exactly. And also, like, only unbeaten team in there is England. So I don't know. Is it, are they? Is it coming home or something like that?
No, I don't think so. US could have easily beat them. But let's talk by. I think last time we did talk about few second games and then didn't
Hmm.
catch up
Yeah.
the Group G and Group H. So Group G, we're going to talk a little bit about Group G that and H obviously that actually finished today as well, but what a crazy set of games, both involving Cameroon and Serbia and Switzerland and Brazil. But let's just talk a little bit about Brazil's two performances against Switzerland and as well as against Cameroon. Obviously, today they have a much changed side, and Neymar is missing, but still, just a conversation on how they played against Switzerland because I didn't see entire game.
Yeah, I actually saw him. I had to caught up. After I did not see anything, there was probably an offside goal, and I was really tired. I fall asleep right away because like too too far, and Brazil were not actually that much. They
Brazil
they were.
without Neymar is not that fun to watch.
Um, yeah, exactly. There were some players like Vinny Junior, and whenever he's getting ball, it's a little bit exciting.
But
But
he needed that space. He scored that
yeah,
goal
yeah,
called offside, but he
he's
needed
he
space.
and Anthony. Yeah, he and Anthony sort of like if everything is going on the other side of the pitch and suddenly you shifted the ball towards them, then they looks better player, like a 1v1 situations and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And Vinny Junior is like yeah, he's really good in going forward, making those vertical sorry, diagonal passes, like back passes. But the problem is that like Vinny Junior and Martinelli is playing in the same position, unfortunately. Um, and one of my favorite player from that team is actually Rodrigo, and I would actually put Rodrigo like over Rafinha or Anthony. So far, what I've seen from Anthony, it's not like like convincing. Like it's
it's more showboating. I mean, flashes here, flashes there, but it's not consistent to put
it's
some
not
threat.
even showboating. Like he slows down the play, and Vinny Junior or like today Martinelli was playing in the position in the left, and then it's like a direct ball. Rafinha sometimes make those like those crosses that he used to do, like this in swing crosses from the right side. And what happens there? Like um, actually, Vinny Junior was receiving one of those and scoring. Probably it was offside. Probably I forgot it, but you got the idea. But I would actually put Rodrigo there because like he's more sharp in goals, like scoring goals especially, uh, which makes him like an attacking threat both way. Not only like he's good in linking up, like he's playing basically uh, today as a number 10 before he was subbed. And thing is that like he was actually doing better job. And I was texting one of my friends like he should have actually been the right wing. Then like Gabriel Jesus would have actually a little bit space to move on, and then actually like other midfielders like Bruno Guimaraes or some other players would come up and pick up those from there.
But the problem with the first two games with Serbia and Switzerland is that both of them were happy to sit back and didn't really challenge Brazil at all, attacking wise or counter attacking wise, right?
Actually,
And then
uh,
today, obviously, Cameroon just showed if you go and attack and try to put some pressure on them, they are vulnerable.
yeah, defensively, I saw so many. Well, I was sort of like re-established myself in the social media, unfortunately, for some reason. But so there were so many stuff going on there. I mean, but which makes me think like I don't miss anything. But what I'm saying, like I saw so many things there, and so many article actually came up, and they are saying like, yeah, nobody was picking like. Putting any shots on goal against Brazil or some stuff like that. Now they are well saying like okay, there are because technically those players are better defender than Thiago Silva, Bruno, no, sorry, what is it, Bremer,
Bremer and
uh,
Militao.
yeah, yeah, Militao.
And
But
also
what I,
Marquinhos was on the field too.
yeah, but today Marquinhos wasn't there.
Yeah,
Dani Alves was there
no, Marquinhos was
at the end
came
probably.
back as a
Yeah,
almost like left back.
yeah, but sort of like. Well, that gives me the question actually. Like Marquinhos is not maintaining that defensive line, and often it actually causes all sort of problems. And we actually did our preview about Brazil having this problem. Well, and there so far there aren't any sort of solutions for this. And another thing is that like if fullbacks are inverting or something like this, which is like we never have seen with a Brazilian team before. I have seen actually Militao was playing as a right back in the second match, and he was actually like trying to do over some overlaps. But with Rafinha and Anthony, if you're playing them, there must be a player who can actually keep out the weight. Otherwise, like it will like congested the box, and players will get in their own way. For example, like a Vini Junior, Martinelli, everyone is like running towards the goal, and some suddenly like players don't have any sort of breath, and players like Neymar needs a little bit space to like shine. Tight spaces. So like they needed a wing back and um, not to full back to overlap, and Militao was doing that actually so far well, but that actually made him a little bit vulnerable because like he's not like a traditional right back or something like that, so he does not know how to track back. Um, so,
Just to give you a
but
little bit of
that is
perspective, Danilo started first game and he had a little
yeah.
bit of injury. Now Dani Alves started today, obviously, and you mentioned about Militao starting in second game as well. But there's a lot of question mark regarding midfield as well. Not just maybe Casemiro is there, and but will you
Well,
pick
Casemiro needs supporting cast. For example, I loved when Paqueta going forward a little bit and try to pick up the opponents in the second or first matches.
But Paqueta
Um,
becomes non-existent if you don't have Neymar.
No, no, not really. But the thing is that like he's more needed in the defensive sort of work than before, because with or without Neymar, um, they need someone who can actually press up a little bit from the midfield and get at least like the second ball, like when it was sort of like a long ball, or some sort of like a turnover in this like final 35, 40
So
years
would you
to
play Paqueta over Bruno Guimaraes?
um yeah, actually I would for this reason only. But Bruno Guimaraes, I'm like a huge fan of him. He sort of like do well with like a three midfielders. Like that's why probably Rodrigo was picked up, and there were another midfielder. Fred was there probably, and Fabinho and Bruno. They, because like they when he leave the place, suddenly like he has this. He's still like learning, like, and the thing is that like he made some big misses today, and problem with that is that like if he, like, he should have actually called in this Brazil team at least, like, I don't know, um, few months before the tournament. They He was not even called up, at least like last season, because I have seen him playing against PSG, and he made this pass to Paqueta, and he can actually play from the deep. And actually, he's better passer. Like he has actually better range of passing than
But you're
Fred.
picking Paqueta over him because of pressing.
Yeah, exactly. But he's not actually that good in pressing. Like compared to both of them, actually, Brazilian doesn't have this sort of midfielder. Like for example, Argentina have deep ball who
Fred
can
is good.
actually.
Fred is good at pressing.
Not really. I have seen him actually in the United shirt. The thing is that like sometimes he gets the ball, but he's not press resistant. So like uh, there is
He
another
yeah.
quality. So like Bruno can actually take you out, or Paqueta can take you out from like like impossible position. But problem is that like they needed a like a presser in the up in this, so that like these players, like those brilliant like front runners, they don't have actually, they get the supply of the ball from the really deep. They could have actually like start from like re-attacking or stuff like that, or like create a turnover. And this World Cup so far has become a World Cup of turnover. So like Brazilian defensive area and the attacking area is like really
There
gets a
is
little
huge
bit,
gap,
yeah, gap, yeah,
and
exactly. So
and
like
they
it's
were
like a
built out by
little bit,
Casemiro against
yeah,
Switzerland.
yeah, exactly.
Wonderful strike, make no mistake.
No,
But
Casemiro so far what he played is sort of expected a little bit. He was going through a little bit like off form, I guess, like in the beginning um, of the season. But it's like uh, he probably changed his club for probably third time in his life, so it's okay. He played for Real Madrid for a long time, and now
no, no, no.
it's,
We're talking about Brazilian, say, for example, weakness, and you talked about that gap between the attack and probably build up of the game and transition, quick
yeah,
turnover, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
there are players like
And they aren't actually
there
shape. I mentioned that
there are
before, like
players,
in our,
even I'm
yeah,
saying Rafinha, who takes a longer time in turnovers because of
yeah,
dribbling, takes time.
yeah.
There are players, even sometimes Neymar itself himself is fit. If he's in the dribbling mode, he takes too much time sometimes. Do you think that's going to be a problem?
If they're playing in like strings, I don't think it's a problem. It's more likely could be an advantage in some cases, especially with them, because
You have to
opposition
get them
sometimes.
1v1
Yeah,
situations.
exactly, exactly. And 1v1, like any one of these four players are like really dangerous. But problems is that like if they if they if the teams can create sort of like a zonal pentagons around those four players, and we have seen that before in the World Cup, and press up a little bit higher and break the passing circle with in between Neymar, Casemiro, and Paqueta. Then that would be tough, and that is a moment actually they can only way out is that like engaging Vinny Junior in some long runs or some long balls, and or because they are not like, to be honest, they are not going to play Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli was brilliant today, but problem with that actually, like, and Bruno, that these players actually just get into the team just before the World Cup, not before. So like they are trying their best. So like sometimes if we are doing like overthinking and overdoing
Yeah,
stuff, like
true.
it doesn't work.
Very true. So, Brazil won 1-0 versus Serbia. Sorry, 1-0 versus Switzerland, 2-0 versus Serbia, first game, and the 1-0 loss versus Cameroon. Switzerland
Mm.
had to win today in order
Yeah,
to. I mean, if they would have drawn, probably that would have been
yeah,
tight,
they would have actually gone.
qualified. Okay.
Yeah,
But Serbia needed win after that fantastic 3-3 draw against Cameroon. Can we talk
Cameroon. Yeah,
that game a little bit? I think this is one of the most entertaining game
yeah,
of
yeah, exactly. But
Cameroon versus Serbia.
unfortunately, I was on the road. I could not
Me too.
actually see.
I catch the highlights and see extended highlights. I saw Cameroon were down 3-1 at one point, and they
Yeah,
came back. Cameroon was fighting all in all spirit, and the man, the meat, Abu Bakar, scoring that scoop goal and also being pivotal on that 3-3 game. And today he scored the second goal. Sorry, it's the 92nd minute goal against Brazil,
yeah,
and
yeah,
got red carded. Uh,
yeah.
so Cameroon would be very, very proud compared to other World Cups they've been. This time around, they're very,
And
very
compare,
fighty.
yeah, and also like compared to their qualifier run, they should be proud of themselves. Like this is one of the toughest group actually. Like these teams, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. Cameroon actually not that actually close, but these two team actually like really close. Serbia and Switzerland, but Serbia's defense actually underperforming in this World Cup. Like one of the reason they actually uh, qualified directly into the World Cup is because of their defense. But for some reason, I don't know, like those players are, whenever they are having sort of like a shaky moments, it like opponents actually seems to multiplying those errors. It was against Brazil, it was against Cameroon, and
Yeah,
today it was
it looked
against
shaky to me, to be honest.
yeah,
It seemed like they didn't know what to do, especially today's the third goal Switzerland had. I mean, that's not classic. I think the Fowler goal was the last one.
yeah.
It was a ping pong back and forth, and they could not maintain their own position.
Yeah, it was sort of like they played like a 90s Argentina team, like late 90s team, one twos and then score. Um, yeah, I sort of hope that like they would come back, defensively especially. But when I was watching and I after 60 minutes I stopped actually watching because they're I don't know, like for some reason it felt like they already gave up or something like that.
So you're
There
talking
were
about
some
Serbia.
attacks. Yeah, Serbia. Serbian defense was like, okay, we are giving up or something like that, and it feels like that they don't have any legs
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. It would have been. I mean, at certain point, it seemed impossible. But if Serbia and Croatia could meet each other, that would have been spicy. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, because of the history of the both
Well,
countries.
yeah. Well, um, that's a long story actually.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
if
yeah,
if you are visiting one of those countries, like from another country, and if you are a foreigner, they will ask, why did you go to that country?
yeah. No, no, no.
It's
Let's
in the
not even
border.
go there.
Yeah,
So Switzerland deservedly. I mean, Switzerland have been in last 15, 20 years have been consistently being there at
Uh,
least in the knockout phase.
I think the experience paid off actually at the end, being into those tournaments, and like they probably went to the second round. I guess like when even they're
Almost every
playing against,
every time.
yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, they played against Argentina in 2014, I guess.
They beat Spain in 2010 in the first game,
Yeah,
and been in the
yeah,
second round. Even before the well, from 2010 they've been consistently on the second round, and
yeah.
even in the Euro they've created consistent performances.
But this team's only problem was like they weren't actually scoring enough.
Yeah.
Um, that was the problem. But today it didn't seem so. But Embolo is an interesting player actually to see. He's so he has sort of this African
Yeah.
players we have seen so far. Like this player from 2002 Senegal. What's his name? Um, the one guy
Papa
who
Abu Dhaif.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Papa, and he has this sort of flair,
Papa Abu
like he,
Diouf. Yeah.
Papa Budiov, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
He then played in the Blackburn Rovers later on.
yeah, exactly. But he has this sort of flair, so it's even a Swiss team is not like an African team, but he has still has this player,
Well,
but his
he's
playing style
the
is also,
Cameroon.
yeah, yeah, he did not celebrate the first goal he scored in the World Cup.
Yeah. Uh, shall we
Yeah.
move to the next group?
Um, so what's your prediction?
We'll talk
Well, we
about
can
we'll
leave
talk
it
about
in the
prediction
later. Yeah,
different segment, but
yeah,
let's move into Group H.
yeah,
No shortage of drama there as well, but Portugal have been first very lucky against Ghana in that game to get a
yeah.
penalty. Talk about another penalty that actually made the difference is a second goal of Uruguay. Your
Yeah.
thought on that penalty call against Jimenez when he was falling, but it hit his hand.
Mm, it's a bit still soft.
Yeah, according to the rule, if you're falling and if that's your natural way of falling to protect your like
Yeah.
human being falls and then hand comes off, that cannot be a penalty. But they have awarded a penalty. So Portugal. Obviously, the first goal is a little controversial as well because Cristiano Ronaldo claimed that he touched it, and it was actually Bruno Fernandes'
That
goal.
become a joke actually. Like,
And at that point, that meme became real life because Piers Morgan tweeted that Ronaldo told him that he touched the ball.
well,
But Bruno was given the goal, and Bruno scored the penalty as well. And that 2-0 win seemed to be the they were qualified, and today they have lost against South Korea. South Korea, I would arguably say the best team in the entire three games on that group. Like there has been up and down between
yeah.
Ghana and Uruguay. Probably played for 1 hour of football, but South Korea tried to play a game. And what a historic moment for South Korea to qualify for the second round. Your entire thought on the Portugal
They played
versus
in the semi-final. It's not like that much
no,
historic.
but
So,
that there is stigma around it that because that was played on their soil.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well, there are some controversies with this Italian game, like like some.
as if
Uh,
in 2006 Italy didn't get any favorable calls against Australia, right?
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly. So no, that's correct. But they could have actually come back against Ghana. Almost did, but only problem with this team actually is that like some players probably 10, 11, or 12 players are over 30s. We
South
have
Korean
never
team.
seen South Korean team. Yeah, we have never seen that that much of old South Korean team, but still, they're still actually good runners than I don't know, some of the Uruguayans and Ghanaians are. Portuguese.
Ghana is actually a very young team.
Yeah,
2020.
but they're not like they actually beat South Korea, but for some reason it did not actually feel like South Korea would have actually come back
Yeah,
like that.
it was fairly even game, obviously, but Kudus basically he was
Yeah,
the man of the moment. I think he had a lot of skill for himself, but that makes it like Portugal. What is your thought on Portugal?
I already probably talked a lot about this sort of coaches. I don't like this sort of coaches. Um, like giving an F1 car to, I don't know, a novice driver or something like that. Actually, so how would they know? But thing is that like even with this all the substitution, like midfield is completely changed. They have quality to beat Korea at least, because like we are not talking about like normal players. Those are like Premier League players who they plays like day in day out and stuff like that. There were some. There aren't any sort of like tactical, you know, new tactic when you are
No.
trailing or something like that, and it's it's kind of predicted like what he what this coach is. So um, I don't know, like everyone is talking about like going them like putting them in the final, but I don't see them going that far.
Well, they have to first beat in Switzerland, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
So Portugal and South Korea today. Obviously, huge moment for Son Heung-min, who scored the winner against Germany 4 years ago. But still, it's a huge moment for him, um, and some outpouring emotion. And at the same point of time, when Son was crying out of for qualification, Luis Suarez was crying for a very different reason in dugout of
in the
Uruguay.
dugout, yeah.
What do you make of the entire thing for Uruguay, and especially the last game? They showed a lot of difference in the quality. They have the quality.
They had it actually, but with Ghana were actually too much emotional, I guess. I don't know, like they had this, this build up going on playing against Uruguay, but Uruguay played like, okay, it's like another game or something like that. That's why Ghana was beaten, because like with the players they have the good runners, the Ghanaian team. They could have easily beaten Uruguay, especially with
It's
the
not
defense.
easy to score against Uruguay first, and second, the problem was
No,
Uruguay's
thing is that like
balance wasn't right.
yeah, they already had a penalty, and they could have actually get like a 2 3 more, because if they are pushing those players a little bit on the edge.
And what a weak penalty. Let me talk about it. Andre Ayew, it's possibly the worst penalty I've seen
Yeah,
in the entire World Cup. It's been almost
yeah.
like schoolboyish. Um, yeah,
Actually, both Ayu brothers, they shouldn't be there. I probably have seen it in a. I guess like it was, uh, yeah, T4 IRL was covering them actually. And they were saying like they shouldn't be in the team because there are other players, but they have this influence. They are probably, can I say, favored by the board or something, like for some reason I don't know. Oh well, the Pele was from there, right? African Pele.
okay. Yeah.
No,
African players from Ghana. Yeah.
yeah. So like,
For a
yeah,
moment. Yeah.
his son is Ayu brothers
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Um, but yeah, Ghana been glimpses. Love the music, love the dance of the fans. But yeah, not good enough at this point. And Korean fans been overjoyed, and Korea is there. They've been competitive.
Uh,
But Uruguay, let's talk a little bit about Uruguay. But I had a little bit better hope from them, especially Darius Roketa. Today's he's scored 2 goals. He could have been a difference maker if Alonso didn't choose him to
Mm.
sit him in the bench, and they played Nunez all the time, but he was almost garbage. And I would say even Cavani would have done a better job than him if you just started Cavani.
The player who scored, what's his name?
Diarra Striketa.
Yeah. So like, I have seen him like so far. Like he's making those on one touch movement with Suarez, and as long as he was there, but Suarez is like really old. He at the end, it did not feel like he is going to play 90 minutes
Yeah.
at the moment. But so it's a sad thing to see this generation.
I,
Like
I, I,
we
I
have not
could
been
not
to see
believe
them in.
I could not believe he didn't play Aristocata for. I mean, he's one of the major reasons Flamengo win this Copa Libertadores.
Yeah,
He is one of the major reason Uruguay qualified even in the World Cup itself.
he
And
has a good link with like a Gabigol. Even like I, whenever he was playing, Gabigol was like he's getting. I was talking about Gabriel Barbosa. Like he's getting a little bit more spaces because like he was taking down the wing backs or
yeah,
fullbacks, stuff like that.
I thought it would have been like what Diego Forlan would have played that number 10 role. He was the ideal number 10 for them. He could have done a lot more creative.
Yeah, he could have
And
actually.
you had
Yeah,
that Valverde coming out from midfield. You had that balance and such a talented squad. Even, we talk about
and they're
Pelistri.
not actually connected, like in any sense, like in any circuit or any
No,
like
no.
they're sort of like a block. And whenever Suarez was connecting them, like this pass from Valverde to someone and then get it. The second I was talking about the second goal, and then Suarez got it and he lobbed it over the defender, and it
Exactly.
opened up the
And
whole
also,
defense.
Nico de la Cruz never played any minute before today, I think.
Oh yeah, De La Cruz. I was talking about. Like he was brilliant actually. Like so far, River was not actually that brilliant, but whenever like they're trying to do anything, they were actually doing it in the left side, and he actually like De La Cruz actually has a good connection with like central midfielders. He can link up with them easily, and like actually like it would make more sense like putting uh, what is his name? I've actually forgot.
Vecino
It's ten.
or Bentancourt?
No, no. Bententura was actually subbed off.
Yeah.
Like he was injured probably. Um, uh, what's his name? The one who scored today.
Darius Raketa.
Diar Stakita. Yeah, Diar Stakita. So like it would be actually make more sense like playing De La Cruz in the left and Aristocata is at number 10 and Valverde is coming for through like or
Yeah.
in the wings
Yeah.
actually, and putting one striker actually in there
Yeah,
because
other
defensively
than
actually.
exactly
Yeah,
made more sense because I don't know
yeah.
what Darwin Nunes
Actually,
was.
they could have actually hurt Portugal with this sort of system because Portugal was playing a little bit narrower,
Yeah,
and De La Cruz is sort of like a he's he's sort of like a hanging on to to that like sideline and sort of like winger
but
stuff
yeah,
like that.
I was massively disappointed with the choices Uruguay have made. They've had a more talent. What it shows on the result. But let's move on. I guess we'll come back to the Group A. A little bit. The final game between Senegal versus Ecuador was basically a knockout game, and Ecuador probably gave their worst performance in the final game.
Yeah, well, defensively actually, they could have actually go ahead few times, and I guess like another reason is that like for some reason they look like a little bit tired
Yeah, yeah.
and
Those kind of
Estrada, yeah, Estrada and Valencia actually. How will I say? Especially Valencia. Valencia is not that actually young,
no, it's
so, so he playing for like almost 90 minutes every game is not his actually forte this time. But they don't have actually any other choice right now. but the midfield actually played well. Kaiseda, um, what's his name? Uh,
Yeah, Caicedo and
uh,
the others.
Gruezo and Franco. Yeah, they played well actually. But the thing is that like with Kaiseda could not actually make some tackle because he was already booked twice in the last two matches. So others should have actually done the job, and um, uh,
But
Senegal actually
what a
could.
goal from Koulibaly. It's a striker's finish.
Well, he did that actually with Napoli
Yeah,
quite a few times. So it's not surprising, but in the we haven't seen him doing that in the
Chelsea's shirt.
national. Yeah, well, Chelsea just joined, so give me a break.
Okay. The other game, obviously, Netherlands won comfortably against Qatar. Nothing to add on that. We'll come back to Netherlands basically after. But in Group B, your favorite.
Gakpo actually
Yeah, go ahead.
scored.
Yeah,
Uh,
Gakpo scored, but I've seen other than scoring, he doesn't do much really.
Not really.
And the
He just
other point to
picked up
be noted,
moments,
yeah,
you
other
know.
point to be noted is a Memphis Depay played some minutes
Yeah, Depay probably is not
fit.
like. Yeah, exactly. He's not looks like himself or something like that.
Yeah, it needs
And
time.
yeah, also Frankie De Jong scored probably his first goal in the major tournament. Um, that's a good way to go. He was making those progressive run, but well, you can actually expect them in Qatar against Qatar. But for some reason, the team so far I was putting them as a black horse or dark horse, whatever what was that
Whatever horse it is. Yeah.
phrase? Yeah,
Yeah.
what was horse it is. Well, in their case, it's like a orange horse or something like that. But problem is that like for some reason this team looks a little bit disjointed.
Yeah.
When they played against Ecuador, they actually
They should have
they
lost that
were
game.
yeah, they should have lost that game actually. They were outrun by Ecuadorian midfielders. Um, so and except for Frankie De Jong, there aren't any sort of like a press resistance midfielders. So
Yeah, I was
they
sad to see that. Dutch team.
and
We're talking about Dutch team. And the Dutch
yeah,
midfielders that doesn't have that, except Frankie de Jong. That's a
yeah,
sad,
that's true
that's
actually.
a sad thing to say.
Yeah, the thing is that like what's his name? Bergwijn
Bergwijn,
was
yeah.
playing outstanding. Yeah, outstanding. But for some reason, he's sort of like I don't know.
Injured or something, I don't know.
And no, he's not injured, but he looked a little bit out of himself or something like that. Like he he's not there. So I don't know like what will happen. Like who? Oh, well, we'll talk
Oh,
about that actually
exactly,
later. Yeah.
exactly. Let's move into Group B. Iran, despite of their win against Wales, was knocked out literally by England and USA. And then your thought on the whole USA performance over the group stages? They look very good, isn't it?
Their midfield is like really brilliant. Finally, they're how can I say they're living up to their expectation.
Yeah, thanks
But
to
there are some concern.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there are some concern with Pulisic, I guess, like they and his injury, I guess. Excuse me. Excuse me.
That's okay.
Um, thing is that like Pulisic was injured, but he scored the winner before he
Yeah,
uh,
he
left.
basically makes sure the ball crossed the line before someone really crushed on him. Uh,
Yeah.
and but yeah, it's a good looking US side on paper. They're one of the most strong US team that ever played on the
Not only Peppers, like their midfield so far, like right now, it's
what's
one
his
of
name?
the youngest
Taylor
young.
Adams, his name, right? Taylor.
Taylor Adams, yeah.
He's been
He's brilliant. I
prolific.
was going to mention it. He's probably the youngest captain in the World Cup. So
Yeah, and then they have not, obviously, we're talking about a little bit of Gio Reyna not even played, but Gio Reyna has
yeah,
some issues with injuries. So you know, as far as I know,
I
he's
think there are some, yeah, I saw some US channels that are talking about Reina lying to the media or something like that. That about his fitness, like he was ready or something like that. I don't know. I did not actually follow, like, so many games are going on,
yeah,
and it's
exactly.
hard to even
There's
follow
a
the
lot of
games. Like,
drama going on site.
yeah,
But other than that, I mean, US team actually stacked with some talents. But let's see how they would do in the second round. And it was quite predictable. Wales have been hopeless. Other than
yeah,
I don't know what else I can find as a word. Hopeless.
yeah,
Uh,
and most of the players are playing in the Wales League, like not like a local league, and uh, well, even they're playing in the local league, there aren't any newcomers, and for some reason they are way more dependent on Gareth Bale.
then Gareth Bale himself,
Yeah,
dependent
probably.
dependent on himself. But yeah, I'd say, you know, that's probably the most disappointing. There would be contest, but yeah, Wales would be right there.
Yeah.
Was one of the disappointing team. Uh, We're talking about England. What do you make of England? Um, they've been very good against Iran. They've been
Yeah, they
okay
finally, yeah, they finally played Phil Foden, and I'm pretty sure he's not going to be there in the
because he played so well.
second round starting.
I'm
Yeah, but
pretty sure Southgate
come
didn't
on.
like it.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't like the things, like Foden, the left of space in the middle, and just to attack or stuff like that. So he like, yeah, that's why he love Bukayo Saka, because like Saka always like track back and forth, back and forth. Um, so Saka probably is going to play, but what a goal from Rashford from the free kick.
Oh yeah, that was a magnificent. And Rashford looks like more and more with the time, he's been found his
Yeah,
mojo.
yeah, exactly. And whenever he's playing in this left side, he was like, he's like really awesome. Uh, and I think it's about time to bench Raheem Sterling and put Rashford in the left,
Starting.
and yeah, in the starting. And let's see. But so far they have like Billingham is not like outstanding, was not that much actually, but well, it is working so far, and they have seems like founding a piece with like a center back. Um, can I say partnership or something like that with Maguire and Stones, and Kyle Walker came back, but he did not play the full 90 minutes. So he's like they will need his space probably in certain games.
Yeah,
So yeah, that looks okay, but
yeah.
let's see.
Let's see. Just quickly moving on to Group C,
Yeah,
where things got really really interesting, especially. But let's talk about Argentina. They were shocked by Saudi Arabia in the first game. They came back.
yeah,
First half of Mexico wasn't that great. Second half was, you know, after Messi's goal, it just started to wear off a bit, the tension. And
yeah.
then obviously the third game against Poland was very very important to for them to win. How did you see them?
Actually, when Poland probably got the message that like they have to defend, otherwise they they are going to be knocked out if they concede a goal, then actually the match was already dead. Um, but it was like sort of like if Messi is scoring or not or something like that. At the end,
Well, they
it
still
becomes,
tried. I mean,
yeah,
Tagliafico's chip was cleared out the line.
yeah,
And Poland was also very careful of not conceding yellow card because it came to a point before Saudi Arabia scored against Mexico, it could be
yeah,
yellow cards. So
yeah.
Yeah, I was also, but overall, did you see an improved Argentine team than when they started in the first game?
Yeah, obviously. Actually, probably the coach needed a little bit time to find out his best squad or something like that. But because what I've seen so far, he did not actually think about opponents before he was choosing the squad against Saudi Arabia or something like that, the starting 11. Because some of the players were like looked really tired, and there actually there were actually needed to be some sort of like a shift or something like that. And he played almost similar 11 that he played a few days ago um,
UAE.
before the World Cup. Yeah, so that should have actually a little bit different squad, different starting 11. But I think this is so far a little the best 11 they have, except like Otamendi to Lisandro.
I don't think so.
You know,
I think Otamendi has been the best player of this tournament for Argentina, apart
um,
from Lionel Messi.
well, I would actually pick Lisandro for some certain reason. Probably we'll talk about it
Yeah,
later.
we can talk about uncertain reason, but if we're talking about so far, the performances have been very
Yeah.
rock solid from.
No, it's not about actually performance. Actually, like the teams they are going to play, probably they need Ottoman's leg in at the end or experience at the end, but they needs a little bit like a faster players, in the beginning. I can understand if they play Otamendi because of his passing range so far, what he's doing. But what I'm saying is that like certain team against certain teams, you must need like Otamendi can run back and forth for like 45, 50 minutes with his age probably. But with a faster team, it will be tough for him to run that far. Like
Well,
especially Argentina was playing
you should not
higher
expose
defensive
any
line.
of your defender to run for more than 50 minutes. That's my first conversation. But I think they've solved the problem of the defensive midfield and build up with Enzo
Yeah,
Fernandez,
yeah.
and he's been one of the
Actually, he
players.
was my first choice. But as a number 8, I would say, because like at that time it seemed like Guido Rodriguez at Paredes was doing well. Well, they're on form at the time, but certain reason like as the tournament goes in,
Yeah,
like if you find,
Paredes was injured or not fit, and Guido doesn't have that same build-up capacity. So
yeah,
Enzo makes more sense on that role, and he can set the tempo. And with him on the quadrat, and obviously Alexis McAllister is another piece,
yeah,
being kind
he
of
can,
solid
he
defense.
even can, yeah, he even can play that role as well.
Yeah, exactly. So with Alexis McAllister, his father Carlos McAllister played with Diego Maradona, and obviously Alexis is playing with Messi as well. As there's a bit of trivia. Carlos played 2 games against Australia in 1994, Oceania and South American World Cup tie, and his son actually scored a goal that actually resulting Argentina to tie against Australia. So there is some Australian connection. But on
But
that
important thing from that actually take on just shift in the midfield is that like Dipol, we were probably texting about Dipol. He was worst in the
first half
first
at
half of
least,
the second game.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And now he is actually pushed back a little bit farther in the pitch, and he has this sort of connection with Molina and Di Maria at the time. And there were sort of like sometimes Messi was going there and to make an overload and.
No, he definitely even in the worst game too. He overrun everybody. He can run, and he was in
Yeah.
the last game versus Poland. He
Actually,
was
that's why he is not subbed off. But there is this certain things I'm actually thinking about, like this sort of things actually happened with Diego Simeone and in the Yeah, yeah. With Simeone so far I remember, and also like probably can be so not can be so Veron, I guess, because like all those players with DePaul as well, they have a tendency to get yellow card, and as the tournament is in the
No,
final.
I think they're a replacement for him as well. They can actually. Now we talked about Alexis McAllister. He can play anywhere. One.
Yeah,
You have
I guess like Palacios can play there, I guess.
Palacios looked sharp whatever time he had played.
Yeah,
But let's not even go there. I think Argentina is getting back a little bit of rhythm on their build up.
yeah, and another thing is that another weakness with Argentine team is like creating the width of the pitch,
And
because like everyone
I
was
did text you about
moving.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, because you have
and
this overloading on the right side. On the left, you need someone like obviously Marcus Acuna didn't take some chances in the first half. He was very close to score.
yeah,
But
yeah,
Acuna gives that weight on the left side, while you
yeah.
have Molina probably.
And actually, yeah, and also like playing Alvarez is a good shift, because in a sense that like he's good in link up,
He's good
and
at
also like
pressing.
he's good. Yeah, exactly.
And
He's actually good in everything.
his
Like sort of.
timing is way better than Lautaro.
Yeah,
Because Lautaro been
exactly.
web offside for a few times, but
Yeah.
Julian is so fast. He can start a yard or 2 yard back, and he still gets the ball.
He
Uh,
normally starts at year back, half year back, and then he goes in, because like there is this whenever if you notice that like sometimes Messi makes some sort of like fast passes to him, um, and normally it was like received by what's his name, the guy who was playing there. He's
Lautaro,
not in anymore. No, 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 no. The left winger,
left winger,
Nico Gonzalez.
right.
So like it actually creates it opened up the like the left center midfielders. Uh, it actually like when Messi play those sort of passes, and if he back flip or like give it back to Messi, then like there should be sort of like a overload in the middle, with the striker, two strikers sitting on, like Messi as a striker, like a second striker, and the striker, and then actually like if the central midfielder pushed a little bit up, and then you have like four players in the circuit, and creating overload in the defensive line. So like it actually squeezed the defense, and push them a little bit back. So like these sort of things were not actually happening in the first two games. And playing Alvarez in this sense, actually like he is actually a little bit press resistance than Lautaro Martinez. Faster, I'm not sure actually, because I have seen Lautaro running really
Yeah,
fast,
yeah. He can
uh,
battle
but
too.
uh, but he has good like Alvarez has good offside sense. But with ball, actually Alvarez is a better player. He's not like a genuine number nine, you know.
And I'm not saying Lautaro is movement is not good. His movement is good, but if you see how Julian moves around, that's
Mm-hmm.
that's fantastic. His idea of finding spaces, and if you see Messi how he scans always, I think Messi, despite missing that penalty, I don't want to talk much about it, but despite missing that penalty, that was probably his best game. I think he's
Penalty,
7 or 8 times he breaks
yeah,
the line and made some
yeah,
dribbles. Obviously, couldn't finish it off, but that's fine.
yeah. Penalty was really soft. Actually, it should not be
But
given.
again, we are talking
Um,
about this these days and ridiculous rules and laws and stuff like
It's
that.
a it's almost the same penalty like the one today was against Uruguay, because it's like really soft, you know. But well, uh, credit goes to Chesney.
He was brilliant.
He
Uh,
yeah, and he was probably the first goalkeeper who saves like two penalties in the outfield in the World
I
Cup
think he
tournament.
saved all. Saudi Arabia, they had a penalty. Mexico, oh no, not again Mexico. Yeah, but yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
You're right.
Yeah.
But
So
how bad was Poland? I mean, they didn't seem like I was expecting a little bit of fight
no,
back.
they weren't actually going to fight back because like when they heard that like Mexico already
No, no,
scored
but
twice.
then it was second half. But in first half too, they didn't really do much because they were outnumbered by Argentine pressing.
Because like this when Deepol was pushed up, he was getting actually they were actually pressing with like four players like so there are like only one way to go to the right and put some long balls to the Lewandowski, but McAllister was blocking those, so they did not actually have any other way to go. Yeah. Argentine midfield, like including Lionel Messi, actually it was. I agree with you. So far, what I have seen like last two matches with Argentina, and I was talking about turnovers, and there were statistics. Actually, I was looking for it, and I was looking for FIFA website and debrief or any other websites, but there I could not actually find it. But what I've seen in the during the game, like there were these statistics like highest turnovers, and Lionel Messi is there to make turnovers. Like that means like his pressing is getting more
Balls.
balls to
Yeah.
the yeah. That's actually insane. Like um, from a 35 years old players. you know,
And people accuse him
but
of walking, like as if they have never seen Messi. Like, is it new? Like
yeah,
Messi
Messi
always
always
walks.
was.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, Argentine team looking good. Poland have qualified. A little bit of sad day for Mexico after I think the second goal they've scored from the free kick. I can't remember Chavez. What a goal it was
Mhm.
against Saudi. But yeah,
Yeah,
they've
but only now the problem will be like they they have a little bit defensively. They have a little bit how can I say whenever they are going up on their position,
are
they
we
don't
talking
have
about
the structure.
Argentina?
Yeah, I'm talking about Argentina.
Okay.
So like they're a little bit vulnerable in the right side of the defense. They are actually a little bit too much exposed. I remember Robert Lewandowski got like two balls. He doesn't have any other players, and he eventually outrun by some other players because like he had to wait like 3-4 seconds to get like a nearest Polish player. But normally it won't happen if you were playing in the quarters or stuff like this. So like there are a little bit works to do in that case. Actually, Molina is not like that fast.
There's nobody fast, so that's why you need a fit
Yeah.
Cuti Romero. Um, okay, so we're talking about Mexico. Mexico just crashed out. Obviously, Tata Martino resigned right away.
Mhm.
And Saudi Arabia also
Actually,
gone home.
actually, there is a build up of that game, Mexico versus Saudi. Yeah, I saw it in the. For some reason, I don't know. Google suggests me some news from Mexican newspaper. Also, I've seen it probably in the El Mundo Albiceleste, probably. Because there are some build up actually going on, like there are some talks going on, and Mexico actually played way better football in that match than in the whole tournament. But for some reason, unfortunately, they considered a goal.
But they're
They
going
weren't
for
actually at
more
this.
goals. Obviously, they
Yeah,
were
yeah,
more
of course.
vulnerable.
Yeah, but they played actually like finally they played a expensive football actually like
And then the question really remains why they couldn't play that game against Poland, and especially that second goal of Chavez in the free kick. I think it's probably for me is one of the goals of the tournament so far. But anyway, both teams are crashed out. Argentina and Poland going into the next round.
mm,
Shall we move to the next group, Group
yeah,
D?
sure.
So Group D, France and Australia is actually advancing, but it was not as smooth as we're talking about because Tunisia had
Yeah.
hopes if the things were actually go on their way. Some other things had to happen, but they win against France. Were you surprised about Tunisian victory?
Not really. Actually, I saw them playing against Denmark and Australia. They were actually getting a lot of support from the stands actually, and it
As an
felt like you were
Arabian
in the
team?
Tunisia. And
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And it felt like actually there are sort of build up, and playing against them is sort of like also like playing against uh, team, like playing against an away team on away sorry away game against Tunisia or some stuff like that, so they got a whole lot of supports, and when they are actually like have momentum, they are actually maximizing it against all those teams. So like against France, and France made quite a few changes actually, um, benching all those players. But
yeah. Kamavinga was playing as a left back.
well, I don't have any comments on that actually, but still, he was sort of like a how can I say, like a hanging left back. He's not like a direct left back because like he's playing in that wing, you know. But too many Fofana and Kamavinga, they should have actually controlled the midfield, but with like uh, this player Kazri, and there is another player like Ben Romdan or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, they played actually so
the
far.
heart out.
Yeah, exactly. And there were actually a goal in the 7th minute, and it was cancelled due to offside. If it actually went in, probably there would have been a different result, I guess. But it was really exciting. France actually made few changes and tried to come back, but they were beaten because, like I told you, like this atmosphere, it felt like it is playing in the Tunisia or something like that.
Yeah. But what was interesting, like France made five changes,
Yeah.
and it was like in the 55th minute or something, and there was still quite a lot to play, and France didn't look like scoring actually after even those changes.
Yeah, sort of like that, and they sort of went to a second gear or something like that. Like today's Brazil, they were already like qualified, so they didn't want to make any risk with the players, especially. There are some concern with like players' health, I guess, like, and also like if you are playing like after like 3 4 days in every 3 4 days, so you have to make some sort of sacrifice.
No,
So
I get that.
that was the calculation, I guess, like so that's what so far we have seen from Brazil, France, and Portugal, I guess.
So let's talk about a little bit on Australia's win over Denmark. Obviously, Australia did win against Tunisia as well.
Yeah.
Um, after just getting a bitten by 4-1 versus France in the first game, who would have thought they would be that resistant to come back in that kind of fashion?
Yeah, exactly. I thought like I probably mentioned like they are athletic but not that impressive, but well, they did. And fun fact, actually, if you if you are listening to our viewers, actually, as we are from Bangladesh, actually, Bangladesh beat Australia in the pre-qualifiers, right?
I
For
don't
five
think so.
nils.
I don't think so.
Yeah, Bangladesh beat actually 1-0 or something like that.
Uh,
Pre-qualifier
I don't think so.
in Dhaka, actually.
I think we lost 5-0
5-0 in Australia.
in Dhaka.
Really?
Yeah,
I think they beat in one game
it
because like
was
I
Qatar.
remember. Oh, okay.
So in Australia, the game was 4-0. In Dhaka, it was 5-0.
Oh, Okay, then I'm mistaken. But then because like we beat Australia, like probably it's not like qualifiers because some other games. So
No,
far I remember.
yeah, no, it's not. I think it was
Oh,
against
okay.
Qatar 1-0.
Oh, okay. Uh, okay, then my bad. Australia played against Denmark, and thing about this Denmark, they looked a little bit. I don't know, like they always look like they're in the second gear or something like that. They're not trying enough. I don't know,
They
or
never had
they're not
the
getting it.
look of a team who could score actually. The,
Yeah, exactly.
the intent, the creativity
They
was not there.
Yeah, and everything was depending on for some reason what's his name, Ericsson, and Ericsson is not getting it, players actually like near him, and he was most likely like most of the time he was outrun by Australian midfielders or defenders actually, and that's how they actually beat uh, Denmark, and which is not surprising, like so far. I don't know, for
No,
some
Denmark
reason.
Denmark had been impressive in this World Cup. It's yeah, it's
Yeah,
it,
that sort of disappointed me. Like Serbia, I have a little bit of can I say expectation from them. But with this midfield, especially like with Hoiberg, Eriksson, and Jansson, and even like Lindstrom on in the wings, he is brilliant player. But for some reason, they're not well adjusted. For some reason, I don't know. They look a little bit flat, you know.
yeah. I think we should move into Group E.
Yeah.
So Group E had another fantastic moment. We just started talking about it before at the start of the our conversation. Like there was four teams could have been, all four of them could have at certain scenario could have qualified. But again, let's just
Best group paper.
yeah, let's
So
focus on Japan. They they had plan A and plan B. Like they know they're very good in transition and have very good quality of attacking player, but they're very good disciplined team as a defensive unit as well. And I think they've outplayed not just Hansi Flick but Luis Enrique's Spain as well. Your thought on that game, Spain versus Japan?
and they only have like 17% ball position.
You can have your ball. We'll get the goal.
It's sort of like this Greece team, from 2004. But they lined up as like 5-4-1 sort of like situation. But their left wing back probably a little bit mobile. He sometimes create a overload in the midfield, so that like midfield get a little bit congested. The blocks becomes a little bit congested, and he actually pressed up the right wingers, or sometimes like the left back, sorry, right back does the same thing, and pressed up the and like put everything when you are like putting like five players and 5 and 4 blocks, and then if one like goes in front and it creates like a five in the block, and you are blocking that like a winger who was carrying the ball, or the wing back who was carrying the ball, then it's all like 5v5 situations, or like it's sort of like create a overrun, like horizontally. So that is the technique they use, which I have actually honestly speaking never seen before. um, um,
But what I've never seen as well is that a team so much discipline on the back can switch right like that, like in the attack.
that is the thing. Like they have actually started with Kubo, and I guess what is the name of the other player? Maeda and Kamada. Kamada and Kubo is not that actually fast players. So like whenever they are bringing there were some changes, like they brought Duan and Asano and Endo. So like when they bring like Duan, so what he does actually, he's sort of like he's like really fast guy, and when he sort of like runs towards through the middle whenever get the ball. They have like 2 3 touches, and then he's exposed to the center backs and stuff like that. And another thing is that like Spain was going like too much expensive actually. Like I have seen like both of their center backs in the Japan's third, and for some reason like after like 23 minutes, probably at 23 or 24th minutes, there were some movements of Japan. It was actually stopped by one of the center backs, like Pau Torres probably. It was from Kubo, and then like I realized like if they bring this guy Duan or Tanaka or some other guys, like they are like those guys are like really fast, and Pau Torres or Balde, they leaves a lot of space behind, and that side of the defense actually Balde is a excellent player to assimilate, but he's not like that good as Jordi Alba, or he doesn't have this that sort of experience. And what happened actually, I have seen actually a couple of time in the first half, uh, whenever Japan was playing a little bit, they were pressing actually. uh, Busquets actually made a mistake in the box, and probably someone actually took a shoot, or it was actually neutralized by Rodri. I don't actually remember, but after that, the first half, they actually pressed up Spain. And what happened actually, like when they pressed up, the players like Busquets and Pau Torres, they don't had actually enough time to recover, and Busquets actually made this, uh, probably made twice or 3 times actually made sort of mistakes, and actually one of those goals actually came from those turnovers
Yeah.
in the final third.
Yeah.
So, and also like they are really fast in conversion. So like
Oh
from
yeah.
they,
Oh
it
yeah.
takes only like probably 2 3 seconds to from their sides to the opposition side. So um,
It's like a Japanese
it's
bullet train.
brilliant. Yeah, exactly. So, and yeah, we don't have bullet trains in Germany as well. So
Okay. On that note, I mean, Japan beat both Germany and Spain, but got beaten by Costa Rica. Uh,
yeah.
Costa Rica at one point.
Actually,
Yeah, go ahead.
Costa Rica, yeah, Costa Rica was like doing low blocks, and with Japan, both of the teams are playing in the. So Japan has
Similar.
to be a little bit
Yeah.
expensive. That's how they beat Japan. But Costa Rica was going actually ahead.
Yeah.
Uh,
Talk about some defending, and German defending wasn't that great either. I mean, even in the first half, Rudiger made a horrendous. Not just Rudiger, I think who Rom and Rudiger both made some horrendous thing. Neuer saved it.
they don't have like uh, with Raum playing. I would have actually played Ginter because like he had more. What can I say? They are playing in the same club, like they are playing those like front four because they are playing. That should have actually the same logic. They should actually apply for the back line. That both Freiburg players should have actually been in the starting squad. And another thing is that like Germany played like 2000. Um, 10 14s at that times Lionel Messi's Argentina, or like that times Neymar's Brazil, and it's like Musiala's Germany or something like that, and one players cannot actually do that. And another thing is that like what hurts me most is like one of the thing is that like um thing about German teams were they were actually little bit professional, and they choose squad like based on meritocracy. like in the past. Now they don't actually do that anymore. They are picking up Bayern Munich players and stuff like that, and there are things going on like, for example, I have seen Bayern Munich's president or sorry, it was Bavarian Football Association's president was threatening German Football Association, like if they bench Neuer and at the time Hummels were playing also in the uh, uh, FC Bayern, if they bench those players and Muller, then Bayern Munich won't supply any players or stuff like that. So there are some internal things going on, and there are actually other players. And I don't actually agree with it. I don't know if you have seen Schweinsteiger's interview. Like he's saying, like the German defense doesn't have any qualities, but I don't think so. Actually, German teams actually has better defenders. Like in so many ways, because some of them are actually playing in abroad. And another thing with Germany, it's the same thing like with Brazil. Like there are pressure going on to play Bundesliga players. It's like the same thing going on with Brazil. Like there are certain players Brazil has to play because they are playing in the Brazilian league. So these sort of things are going on, which I don't like anymore. So um, it's one of the reason I was actually really happy to see Germany is
Yeah,
going out.
and there's a lot of changes even. Like it almost felt like Hansi Flick doesn't know what the heck his 11 is, what the heck is his tactics is.
He only got like 10, 15, 10, 12 games. The problem is that like the coach before, Joachim Löw, before 2018 World Cup,
But what?
we
Yeah, go ahead.
mentioned that actually it has created a generation gap, because some players could have been actually in the that sort of position, like they already played one World Cup and they are actually going to do well so
But
far.
but but
um,
let me get back to you, because you're living in Germany. If you have to list three or four top
mhm.
problems of the German football? Uh, because this is happening what 24 after 2014, 2018 they've been out of a group stage, never done that before. 2022 again, in between, the Euro has been dismal. They're they've done a little bit better probably in the Nations League, but that's almost like glorified friendly. But according to you, what are the major problems there? You talked about Bayern being the major force. What are the others?
I guess like this was the problem, because like at that time, because some of the like look at the some of the players achievement, like they're playing like even like in the last 2 years Bayern Munich was champion, and they also played a final before that. So like the achievement of these players is like too big to like bench them in some way. Like Manuel Neuer is still their captain, goalkeeper, and everything, but there was certain things going on with like Matt Hummels. Hummels was there for a while, but there were some
Sounds
other
like
scandal
Uruguay.
outside of that. Yeah, sort of like that actually. Like there are so many telenovela going on in German. I actually never have seen that actually. I never read that before. Like there like there are stories like, okay, they sometimes like bench their star players. Like for example, if you remember when Schweinsteiger came in, Michael Ballack was seated and he was not actually picked up for the World Cup in 2010 probably, and he was sort of like forced retired. And Oliver Kahn, won Golden Ball, probably the only Golden Ball winner as a goalkeeper. Um, he was actually
No, he's
benched
getting old
because
too.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, also, but he was on form, but he was still on bench because of Jens Lehmann was like in a better form, because like both of them are like only one year like uh, like younger and older stuff like that. Um but Jens Lehmann was chosen because of his form with Arsenal at the time. Um, So that is another issue, and another thing is that like German German viewers, they don't actually watch other games, I guess. Like um, for example, when I was mentioning uh, Mark Andre Ter Stegen. At the time, he was in like really good form. Like he was one of the reason, like Barcelona had this run in 2018-19. You know, like before they lost against Liverpool in the semi-final. Uh, um, he, Lionel Messi, and like there are some other going things going like one or two players because of those players actually Barcelona was going through. Uh, but they don't actually even hear about this Stegan guy. So that is another issue. Like when you are watching other leagues or stuff like that, and it's almost sort of like a English thing going on. Um, but with even like Sky Sports and everything, like those people, I don't actually see new faces, you know, like in analytics or any other things, and there aren't any sort of like a assimilation of new ideas from other culture or stuff like that. Um, so the tactics basically was same, and it was
The
sort of
philosophy is
similar to,
the philosophy remains
yeah,
same.
philosophy is not actually, yeah,
The philosophy remains
but
same, but the quality of the players have dropped.
um, mm,
To
it's not
play
like
that's philosophy because
quality of the player actually dropped. It's like because of they are playing in certain system, they are too much comfortable in this system. They are not getting out of that system actually. And Joachim Löw actually played like all those like 6 7 Bayern players, because at the time Pep Guardiola was in charge of Bayern
exactly,
Munich, and
exactly.
they are playing in they are used
Certain
to
way,
playing in the certain ways, yeah. And then with Toni Kroos from Real Madrid, he's also like a that sort of players, you
similar
know.
sort of player.
Yeah, similar
And
players,
Semi
yeah.
Khedira,
So yeah, and Semi Khedira is like really good in destroying stuff, you know, like destroying attacks and stuff like that. And also like they had striker Klose was scoring probably 3 4 important goals. Muller,
was
whenever he was
younger.
coming, yeah, younger and also like faster, and also whenever he was coming, he was also like making like assist and stuff like that, and he was scoring important goals as well. So um, that sort of things actually created, but that is sort of like an exception, because this whole system was built right after they lost against I guess like in 1998, and then they had this plan like to win the
Revamp.
World Cup in 2000, yeah, 2006. So for this, they actually created a whole new system, but that system is getting old, and there aren't any new coaches, and there are only like outsiders, I guess, like Xavi Alonso took over by Leverkusen. So they need to actually like assimilate those sort of ideas, learn things about other peoples and other ideas and stuff like that. So yeah, they are not actually like as evolved as, so like if you are putting those players in this to fit in this sort of like old systems and stuff like that. And if you remember, it reminds me of like this traditional English that late 90s and early 2000s,
4-4-2.
like, yeah, 4-4-2s and stuff like
No
that, and
matter
like,
what the team it is, it's 4-4-2.
yeah, exactly. Like you have to be in the 4-4-2, and also like the coaches they are actually choosing. They're actually choosing coaches like this, and if you remember, there is like when I guess who was there? Like Arsene Wenger is playing always like the different system.
I think
Um,
we're getting away from the match itself. What did you think
yeah.
of this particular game, Costa Rica versus Germany?
Well, like I said, Costa Rica did not seems like they have any more legs
Yeah,
after a 70 80 minutes. And some of the players are like really young, you know, still.
yeah. I think two score. two goals were scored by Havertz, and he looked the most unhappy man in the planet Earth by winning that man of the match. I don't know if you have seen the picture. It
Yeah, I saw some. I thought that someone photoshopped it or something like that.
and, uh,
Uh,
and Fulkrug
but
scored one.
he's sort of right, like because they were actually he uh, he and Thomas Muller has the similarity, like prime Thomas Muller has some similarities, Mm, but they are actually choosing the Muller name over his form actually. Whenever Chelsea is doing anything good, it is actually coming from him or Mason Mount or something like that, not from Sterling or any other strikers. Um, so um, watching those games actually, and when you see that like those players are treated uh, like that actually in the national level, it doesn't actually make sort of sense because like the players who is playing in that player's position is not actually like nowhere near good as he was before.
Right. But can we actually tell the audience, whoever is watching at this point, the right reason why Germany got knocked out?
Oh wait, of course.
Go ahead.
It's because of me.
So anybody is anybody watching, that's because Sudipta went into Germany, and after that they started losing.
In the
So
group round actually.
in the group round as well. So it takes whatever anyone else is doing, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, at this
Yeah,
point, so Hansi Flick still remains as a coach. Um,
yeah, because there are some talks with Tuchel, but it's actually because of the system. It's not because of the coaches actually. It's There needs a little bit more, I think he is talking about the like they needs more players and stuff like that, but I don't think that much actually Germany differed. But I think there are some certain mentalities with like certain players he picked because they have already won it all or they have done it all, and certain players who like Rudiger, like well, uh, that mentality should not be in the dressing room, like always like thinking yourself as a superior or something like that.
yeah.
uh, like today even like Brazil did not actually give any how can I say importance to the Cameroon game, and that got beaten.
Yeah, exactly.
So
The game
and
has to be
nowadays
played on
like
the grass.
yeah, exactly, and nowadays everyone is like really close, like every teams is not like that much far actually.
Yeah, fair enough. Shall we move to the next group? That is Group F.
Yeah.
So we have another drama queen, a new drama queen in the World Cup. That's called Belgium. You've heard a little bit what's going on the Belgian side, and obviously Roberto Martinez left. What's your thought on the entirety of the drama that went over Belgium?
um Actually, it broke out after like probably first match, but it was not actually sure. But in the second match press conference, Bartenkan was like implying something towards Kevin De Bruyne comment, and I think that broke out. And I guess like there were like 4 or 5 senior players who are involved in that feud. So what happened there? Like it's hard to manage that sort of situation, and everyone when
Well,
everyone is
it's
tired.
not hard to manage if you have a very strict coach. It's hard to manage if you have a very passive coach.
No, in the middle of the tournament, you don't want to manage these sort of things. Like you want to do like prepare for the game, next game, and next game, and go on.
Well, then selection has to
And
be based
and
on
also
that,
there are
isn't it?
some, yeah, exactly. And there actually the coach actually gave make the way for those sort of players. Like Kevin De Bruyne probably played his worst tournament ever, but he was not actually subbed off.
Eden Hazard started
Eden has
two
started two
two
games
games,
actually.
first two games.
Yeah,
How?
And I don't know like if he's watching Premier League or like this is the most like so far by far the best league uh, in so many ways. But probably Martinez doesn't want
He
watch
probably
that league.
was watching Turkish league because Martins
Mm,
played.
probably uh, because Trossard sort of like one of the
Best
I
Brighton
guess like
players.
yeah, one of the best Brighton players, along with like McAllister. What they creates in the opponent's third is like really scary. One of the scary team. Even like City, Liverpool, those teams actually play cautiously against them. Um, but with Trossard probably scored an hat trick, and he was probably
Against
started
Chelsea.
the yeah, yeah, exactly. Wow. I did not actually believe that actually. Romelu Lukaku came in the third match, but
He
he has
didn't.
some
He
injury problems.
someone commented, Romelu Lukaku is the only striker who gets surprised by the ball in the box. I mean, sorry about it. I mean, everyone misses. I'm not saying that, and always historically, Romelu Lukaku had a bad touch, first touch, but still, you expect him to score one of those chances.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing is that like playing in the same formation in the same there aren't sort of like any sort of variety, because if you remember 2014 team was more dynamic. Actually there were sort of changes between like 4-2-3-1 and 3-4-2, and sometimes there were changes between 4-3-3 or stuff like that, and it was going on in the match. And there aren't sort of like a variety, because like there are only changes in players or personnel, but not changes in like shapes or stuff like that. And when you are playing, especially in this World Cup, like when you are not getting any turnover in the final third, you have to run a lot to get the attack. And another thing is that like it's in the middle of the desert you are playing, so you don't want to run that far, like
And
with a
doesn't help that you're not that young as a team anyway.
yeah. And also like you have like 10 players who are over 30s, so
Yeah.
it doesn't help. So
Let's talk about one of the more impressive team, Morocco. Morocco has been really great and really something different
actually,
than.
yeah, actually probably we were talking about it like when we back in like 7 6 7 months
Yeah,
ago, uh, we sort of guessed like one of these teams are going on like going to the final round. Morocco was there, and Belgium and Croatia. And Croatia actually played well, like compared to like 7 months ago. But one of those teams were going, and Morocco is was
yeah, definitely. We did.
going to the final third.
We should.
Yeah, we did that.
We don't get enough credit because people don't see us.
Yeah, I know.
People see some of the crappy analysis done by some big names in the big TV shows, but that doesn't make sense. But
Yeah,
we were talking about this Moroccan side had pace, has quality, and even Hakim
yeah.
Ziyech was not on the
There
team
were actually like I think if I remember I correctly, we were talking about Ziyech's
situation.
drama. Yeah, and there was a change in coach, and he came back. And what a comeback! He scored 2 goals in 2 matches,
Well,
and
one of them
two
we
goals,
just,
right?
yeah, one of
Yeah,
them we just gifted him, yeah, given that that's probably the most dumbest goal in this whole World Cup. But still, credit
yeah,
to
of
be
course.
given to Hakim. And another Hakimi is playing well. I mean, not just Hakim Ziyech, it's the entire team. Bono looks to be in good form too, in
Yeah,
goal. The only goal they have considered against Canada was their own goal.
yeah. Another thing is that like who probably what's his name? Uh, El Nasiri or En Nasiri,
El Nassiri, yeah.
their striker. He looks actually sharp, and He
He
has this
definitely looks
attribute,
sharper than
like,
Rafa Mir.
of course. um, the thing is that like I have seen him quite a while.
in Sevilla.
He has this, yeah, with Sevilla. But he has this, like a attribute, like he always like push the center backs actually a
Back
little bit behind. It usually creates an inverting, all sort of space for inverting Ziyech or Bofal or some other whoever playing in that area. And their midfield is like with Sabri and
Amrabat
and another thing, Mazraoui is playing in the left. uh, that is sort of like a quick quick thing. Actually, like a really good fix to that problem, because like that they have like a little bit, how can I say, imbalance right and left, and they are actually resting whenever they are like winning comfortably or stuff like that. They are resting always like Hakimi, because like they know that he's going to be needed in the one of those games. uh, and another thing is that like Mazzaroui and Hakimi both are like really, really fast players. Probably like one of the fastest wing back pairs
in the
in the
world.
world so
Yeah,
far. Yeah. So uh, if they with like Amrabat, Onuahi, and what's his Sabiri, when they compact the midfield and go with the attack, and they actually like they have like really good turnovers in the like the final 40 or 35, these sort of areas, and they can actually like renew the attack and again. So like, and another thing is that like I have seen them actually playing against what's his name, uh, Belgium, and also like Croatia, especially against Croatia, there were some like nerve-breaking moments, and they actually got like a whole lot of support from the local people there. Like it was almost like red at the time. So and that also like they can actually create like really good momentums for like and put pressures, which is their strong suit, and like with gallery over your head, it's like really, really, really nice, nice atmosphere to be in Moroccan.
yep. Um, the other team is Croatia that advances. Obviously, Canada
Mm.
alongside Belgium gets eliminated. Not much to add on. I'm not going to add much on that. But yeah, it's Belgium due to different reason. They should have been beaten even by Canada. Uh,
Yeah, actually, yeah, we talked about that. But with Canada, I probably texted you like I was watching some Canadian channel TSN.
yeah,
Um, uh, and it is like uh, the performance so far. I was going to ask you, but I thought like I should ask you in the
no, no, go
this
ahead.
episode.
No, no, go ahead.
Like it looks like the Canadian channels are satisfied with the performance given from.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think there's been a, in general, whatever I'm hearing from the people is that there's a, obviously we are here and we need to be, we need to be grateful
No, I
to.
was talking about the channels. So like I want to know the what's going on with the people. Like,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Channels, obviously, I don't really rate some of the ex-footballers who are talking about Canada because we used to suck in 3 4 years back, and they used to be one of the packs. So it's a huge achievement jump to qualify for the
Mhm.
World Cup. But I think this Canadian team is better than that. But also there's some yellow, bad journalism going on, putting Alfonso Davies as a main culprit. That's not even right. I've seen a very cynical piece on CBC as well. I thought that was just rubbish. Some of the writing there. I think what Canada had a problem is the middle of the park and the tactics. John Herdman has done very well for Canada to qualify for the World Cup, but I think he's been not that great in the World Cup. It's been a learning curve for him as well. He could have done better with his tactics, especially against Croatia. The middle of the field was kind of empty. Some of the decision making, like some of the better players, didn't play well. Jonathan David had a very awful tournament. You had Hutchinson playing for a long, long time against Croatia. Then
Yeah.
you had Buchanan didn't really produce much other than some glimpses here and there. And also Borja is a goalkeeper, used to be one of the most reliable hand, but he's just gifted a goal against Morocco as well. So it's been mixed bag. Yeah, it could have been way better. We Canada should have beat this Belgian team for the first game. But again, there in this stage you cannot have a very open, empty midfield. You need a better organization. If someone is going into attack as well with all those pieces, and you've seen a little bit of Ada Kugbe, how quick he is in the left wing back. He didn't
Mm.
play in the first two games really as a starter,
Yeah.
and he forced that own goal from Morocco. So there could have been better selection, better tactics could have been chosen, and yeah, there are a lot to work on for the upcoming 2026 World Cup.
Do you think this coach should be there? Because like there are so far like I have watched your interview with this Canadian journalist.
Yeah.
So like
And
like,
on that one, I did mention about Group B being the easier group for US, and so I obviously
mm,
had heard a very different view, but I was proven right because you see, USA is going over Iran and Wales. It could have been better if Canada were given a very fairly, obviously it's a draw. We cannot decide,
yeah.
but if it could have been an easier group one. And John Hardman, I uh, I have a mixed feeling about him. Um, I d- you have to see at least probably he needs probably another run on the regional team, regional competitions. If they have been invited in 2024 Copa America, I think Canada should take it and just see it out. They have to play in elite against elite teams to try find themselves. If it's not, then you have to find a system first to fit the players.
The thing is that like there were a video viral right before Croatia game, I guess. Sorry, no, sorry, not Croatia. Yeah, Croatia game. Yeah,
That
like
I've told them that they should have Croatia.
yeah, like a f them up or something like that, or some
Yeah,
there were
I
some
wouldn't say that was a right choice of word, but then again,
yeah,
you don't have to tell that in press. That stays inside the dressing room. You don't
yeah,
have.
exactly. It's
That's again naivety.
I have seen his interviews and he's sort of like a little bit hot-headed, like a Sampaoli sort of coach. Um,
It doesn't have to be like that. I mean,
Yeah,
it could have been
and some of his
communicated.
tactic I don't actually agree. Like especially when they are actually went ahead against what was this team?
Croatia.
Croatia, yeah. And then later on the first half, they were actually basically outrun by the Croatian midfield. Um, and Hutchinson and shouldn't be in that sort of situation.
Well, Hutchinson almost scored against Morocco. It came back from the line, but again, he's a veteran. I understand there is a sympathy for him, and there's a love for him to give him some minutes. But then again, if you're playing Hutchinson, you have to give him more resources
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
to defend and give more players around.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes I don't understand playing two strikers, stuff like that.
Yeah, it could have been
Um,
one rather than Lorraine and
yeah.
Jonathan David. And Jonathan David didn't have really good tournament overall. He could not be
Yeah.
influenced and he could not
He could
participate
have
in.
actually scored. at least one goals,
Especially the one
and which are,
cross
yeah,
of Estacio that nutmegged Kevin De Bruyne, and then he put the ball. I thought it was in. Normally, you'd expect Jonathan David to bury them, though, but he didn't. But
yeah,
you have to go with a structure first, not your just best players playing in a structure. Like, yeah, I think there's a lot to be seen and a lot to be analyzed. I understand Canadian media and ex players being happy just being there, but it could have been way better because Canada has some quality.
yeah, exactly. And I guess like I have seen some midfielders, they should have actually been in the first two matches,
Yeah,
and they should
and
have
also
actually brought in.
another point is that we have to find a better pair of center backs
Yeah, true.
if we're playing in
Uh,
that kind of open game.
yeah, exactly. And also I guess like better center midfielders, because like Hutchinson won't be there, I guess, like in his
Yeah,
40s.
yeah,
So
fair enough. Um,
yeah,
but
we are done, I guess.
yeah, I will wrap it up, and we'll create another totally different episode out of the second round. So any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, not like we have already mentioned so far. Like the second round games are going to be cagey, because like only 2 3 days to prepare for it
Yeah,
for this.
we'll talk about it. Okay. Thank you for watching. If in case you actually are at this point of the video, and thank you for watching. And please make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment, and let us know your thoughts. We'll be back with another episode.